I'm Amy MGeachyon, an interior design expert. Designers are expected to live in a magazine-worthy home every day. Contemporary, chic, pristine. But I'm throwing that out the window to live in my own renovation with my dog Milo. Life is messy. What could possibly go wrong? First up, let's give this outdated main floor a modern overhaul. Oh, this is gonna be fun. I'm so excited that I can finally have you all in my home. This has been quite the year, renovating, lots of chaos, many different stories to share with you because we've completely renovated and changed the decor and look of this house. This neighborhood was super desirable to me as well as to a lot of the other people out there. It's a really mature, established neighborhood in the heart of Oak Bay in Victoria. What people love about it is it's super close to the amenities, it's quiet, it has the rock pillars out front, which I think kind of make it feel prestigious. Back in the 80s when the custom homes were being built here, it was where the doctors and the dentists and the business owners built their homes. So it kind of has a certain level of prestige. When we decided to take on a project of this magnitude, which is quite large, I had initially thought that maybe I would start with a condo or something a little bit smaller, but the market has been insane the last couple of years on Vancouver Island and really in Canada in general. It became quite difficult to find a home that really had the right fit for what I wanted to do. I wanted to transform something that was already amazing, that just needed a little love and a little bit of my special expertise to it. I've done hundreds of renovations, new builds, redecorations for my clients, but this was the first one that I was actually going to live in, which, you know, I've had tons of clients also say to me, I want to live in the renovation to save money, that sort of thing. Now I know what that really consists of. There was only ever one owner of this home before me. So essentially the original owner had built it from scratch. They'd put their love and care into it for a number of years. Everything was still in very good condition, very well looked after. This was a custom home that had been designed by an architect to suit their family. What this home was lacking was the modern finishes. It had carpet on the main floor in all of the common areas. Myself and a lot of clients don't like that these days because of allergens. Hardwood or engineered hardwood is just the direction that most people go as far as what's trendy. And then also bringing in some of the modern comforts such as heat pump, new windows and doors, and those sorts of things that really just make a home cozy. You know, as anything is, there was a lot more to do than expected in the beginning, and we also, because of budget, had to scrap a lot of our ideas as well. For the exterior, I really wanted to keep it a low maintenance yard because I think that myself and then anybody else that's purchasing this home is going to want something that is just sort of turnkey. They can leave, travel, not have to worry about the upkeep too much. I wanted to make the space cozier and more efficient by changing out the baseboard heaters and putting in a heat pump, also having a security system, and just making it a very self-sufficient home that I don't have to do a lot to. We were expecting to do this renovation in a year because of the way the industry was with labor shortages and price increases. We even waited for our permit for so long. It just took so much more time. We're sitting here talking about all these stories today, and I'm so excited to share them with you. But this beautiful space around me did not happen overnight. There was a lot of pivots and there was a lot of curveballs. And I will share all those stories with you, including the one where the fire department showed up at my house one night. There's sort of a two-tier plan to create the initial feel and style to the home when you're doing a renovation. There's the technical side of it, and then the warmth and texture and all of that that you bring in with the decor and the actual schemes.
Here's the plan. We're removing all of the non-structural walls that are currently breaking up the space. We want a large island and eating area, perfect for entertaining, with more of a casual feel to the family room and a formal feel to the living room that has a dedicated bar space. We'll modernize the finishes while playing up the natural light in this bright and airy space.
Bringing in the heat pump, it really creates a more consistent heating and cooling system. Whether it's in the summer, you get the air conditioning. If there's a heat dome or any inconsistent weather outside, it keeps it nice indoors. And in the winter, when we have the colder weather, it keeps it a nice warm temperature. The baseboards that were here in the beginning were so inefficient. They're very costly. These are extremely high ceilings. It's a very open space. A ducted heat pump is a great option for a new build. You can plan that from the very beginning, running the ducting through the walls, through the crawl spaces, or through the attic. We don't have an attic in this home, but we do have a good sized crawl space. So for the main level, we were able to duct it through the crawl space into the vents in the floor. However, for the upper space, we actually needed a separate unit. So that meant lowering the ceiling in the garage and ducting it from there to the different bedrooms with a separate unit outside as well. So 2 units out front of the house, hidden by the bushes.
As you can see, there's been a lot of prep work done on the floors here. In an older house, you'll have a lot of high and low spots. You can see that they actually had to grind down the floors here where they were high humps. And then in the lower sections, they pour self-leveler, which just sort of fills it in and makes it all level. We're preparing for an engineered hardwood. This is what we ended up going with. It's a beautiful white oak, really consistent in color. We did have a little bit of a mishap, and that was totally my fault. The flooring that we chose was delayed, so I chose another one off of a small sample like this. One thing you really want to keep in mind when you're choosing a wood floor is that there'll be a lot of variation. That's just the way it is, it's real wood. So you want to get a box ahead of time, pull out a bunch of the planks and see what they look like snapped together. The one that we'd chosen had a lot of different undertones to it, which I think would have made it difficult when choosing paint colors and all of that. So we ended up going with something that's a little bit more consistent. It has set us back as far as installing the floors, but I think in the long run it's going to be worth it.
When we're looking at the technical side as well, the fireplaces in this home were controlled by propane. They were originally wood-burning stoves though, so the viewing area was very limited. The older style propane insert didn't have a lot of glass in it. I wanted to put new inserts in that were more energy efficient. We looked at doing a natural gas, but we didn't have that in the subdivision up here. We would have had to pay to bring that in from the street, and as far as our timelines go and budget, it just didn't make sense. So we actually did stay with propane. We don't use the fireplaces as a heating source, it's more just for ambiance. Within the original design of this home, one of the biggest elements was the wallpaper on every square inch of these walls. And it was done really well, very professionally. It was sort of a grass cloth, but had to be pulled off in 2 stages, pulling the actual thread of the paper off and then removing the paste. The electrical component to this house was a little bit challenging. There's no attic in this space, so I knew I wanted pot lights. That's not an option if you don't have the cavity above to put the can in. But there's a newer product now which is a wafer light, which is LED, and it only takes up about this much of the space above.
As you can see, there are a lot of holes for pot lights in this space. We really wanted to light it up. There wasn't much lighting before. It was mostly track lights and the odd fixture. So it was a bit of a challenge to lay this out. Typically you have flat ceilings and you can really just do a grid, making sure that there's no dead spots. Well, as you can see here, there must be about 8 different angles and different directions. And we have different type of lighting. We're doing chandeliers, pendants, and pot lights. You can see behind me, currently we have a nice big happy face on the ceiling. That'll disappear once we get the fixtures in. But we had to consider things about the angle that the lighting is going. You can't just expect it to light up the spot right below it, because when it's angled on the vault, it's actually lighting up things over here. So we had the lasers out, marking things on the ceiling and the direction of the light. And I think we have it figured out.
During the construction phase, we had a little surprise. The fire alarm accidentally went off, and so the fire department showed up. We've talked a lot about all of the technical stuff, which is extremely important in design, but now it's time to get to the fun stuff, where I really put my mark on it with the color scheme, fabrics, texture, and decorating. As the interior designer on this project, I have an entire team of designers, trades, contractors that work with us to make this happen. It's not just about doing the decorating and the soft finishes. We're involved from the very beginning, the planning, the drafting, bringing it to permit, and then also bringing the experts and the trades into it to actually make this happen, and then putting together all the beautiful things in the end.
I never thought I would be so happy to see the drywall stage done. All of the dust that it creates, it's in the air, it's in your throat, it's on my eyeballs. It's finally finished. We had to do at least 3 coats of the skim on the ceilings to get rid of that texture. Every single surface had to be sanded each time, and it was literally snowing dust everywhere. It's not a good idea. A lot of my wardrobe is black. Do not wear that onto the construction site. I was just covered in white dust at all times. As you can see behind me here, we've cut out the niches for the wine pegs. This is going to be a really cool design feature in the display.
When it really comes down to the details, you have to start from your blank canvas and build out. So when we're looking at the paint, that was a very important aspect of this. The Benjamin Moore paint Intense White was the color that we chose, but not after putting multiple tones on the wall to see what worked right in this light. It's super important to put the numbers with the different paint colors so you're not influenced by the name of the paint, because a lot of people love or dislike something by what it's called. Some of our options were Calm, Simply White, Intense White, Gray Owl. They all have different advantages to them, but you want to pick something that's based on the undertones and how it looks in the space. We added drama to the space by all of the black touches. So by having a solid black island, but a soft black, it's blackjack. It has a bit of gray tone to it and almost a little bit of undertone of blue. I really wanted some key features in the space to be the 2 different fireplaces, because we have 2 different looks. We have a more formal living room and also a more casual family room, which is right around the corner. They need to complement each other and have a good flow to the space, but also have something a little bit unique about each of them. We went with a Dreamcast fireplace in the living room, which is more traditional. It's actually a cast concrete out of Vancouver that we had shipped over after we did a custom design on it. We chose the color London Fog because it has a great contrast to the wall color and highlights the space. We went quite heavy on the size of it because I wanted it to be the grounding feature of the room. The accent lighting was one of the most important features in this home to me. We spent a lot of time really picking designs and styles that would complement the space. I didn't want to repeat anything by having different types of fixtures in the same collection. It's all the Allura moods, so they're all different but complement each other nicely. The pendant lights are light and airy, and they're not too obtrusive in the space. When you walk in the entryway, the chandelier sets the tone. It's got the touch of black, a little bit of white, and it's repeated in the dining room area. The lighting is really the element that adds the drama to the space. It is absolutely beautiful. While we're on the warmth of the home, one of the main things that brought that into the space was the wood flooring. We chose a white oak that the color is actually called Vancouver, so it's very fitting. It brings that warmth into the space and it's very natural. It doesn't look fake, it doesn't have too many knots in it, just enough to really ground it and complement with the texture. By eliminating all of the wall-to-wall carpeting in the house and converting to the engineered hardwood, we actually got rid of a lot of the allergens. We also installed an HVAC UV light, which will eliminate the mold and mildew, kill viruses and bacteria, and reduce odors, all of which will improve the quality of my indoor air. I touched on this a bit, but something that is so important to me is original artwork. Sometimes it's out of people's price point, but if you can afford it, invest. It's something that you will enjoy forever and bring to whatever space you're in. The artists that we chose have a lot of texture in their paintings, as well as that real moody feel, which, you know, kind of reflects how I am. The large white space in the living room was quite vast, so I wanted to break that up a little bit with something that I quite enjoy, and wine is one of the hot topics in my world. I wanted to break up the wall a little bit with the dark contrasting color that we've used in the home, which is the soft black, but I also added the texture of the cladding, which we found on the exterior of the home and in the master bedroom. It adds that texture in the back of the space, and then with the floating wine bottles, it kind of creates that interest, and we can really display my favorite wines. We removed the outdated finishes and materials on the walls and floors. We improved the heating and cooling of the home with a new heat pump and updated fireplaces. The revised lighting and decor enhanced the soft and airy feel of the cozy atmosphere. That's really just the beginning of my journey though. There's so many more stories to share with you, like bringing down the walls in the kitchen, creating a master sanctuary, changing the exterior so it's completely modern, and I'll even tell you what it was like living in a laundry room.